Not every gimmick is a death sentence. Sometimes you can make the right kind of bloodbath that attracts thousands. Hey, you like that intro? Look at me, I got an intro. I'm getting professional finally. After 4 years. Welcome to Everyone Who Does Music. For today, we're checking out the 6th studio album from American metalcore band Ice Nine Kills called Welcome to Horrorwood. This is their 3rd album in a row that's been inspired by fictitious works, the first being 2015's Every Trick in the Book, inspired by book stories, ironically because Every Trick in the Book, and then 2018's Silver Scream, inspired by horror movies. And here we are with the sequel to the Silver Scream, Welcome to Horrorwood, being inspired by even more horror movies. I've seen a lot of people cite Every Trick in the Book as the band's rebirth and the catalyst for their success that they've reached now, and I gotta agree. While their work has been very much influenced by other people, the band has essentially found themselves in a new way that, while they were still doing really good on The Burning and Safe as Just a Shadow, anything from Every Trick in the Book and up has been non-stop hit after hit, success after success, and I'll echo the word again, a rebirth of the band. The album that came out before this, Silver Scream, had songs inspired by Friday the 13th, the Halloween franchise, so on, and I think that they really took the sound that they were starting to evolve with Every Trick in the Book and perfected it with that album. I saw a lot of high rising choruses, a lot of straight up fucking intense breakdowns for their genre, and again, the start of success that I would echo into this new album as well. A lot of people wanted a sequel to the Silver Scream, but were worried if they were going to put out decent songs or even have decent inspirations, because they took a lot of the big names from the Silver Scream Part 1. But not only did they pull out some real cult classics and some songs and some movies, that I honestly forgot about in the consideration, but they created another stunning album. Let's talk about it. Something that really caught my eyes and caught my ears while listening to this album, outside of the inspired material that we'll get to eventually, is a sort of in-album story that's been put together throughout the course of the album. If you watch the music videos that came out for the songs from the original Silver Scream, you notice that there is a sort of like overarching story being told by the band that talked about Spencer essentially being this serial killer getting away with murder after murder, or even when he's questioned, he's still walking away a free man, essentially. And this continues here in the music videos and somewhat in those slight story beats you get from song to song here on Welcome to Horrorwood. In fact, the first 2 songs on this album, being an introduction and then an actual full song, are directly original music and original songs made for the album that coincide with this original story that I was talking about. I really enjoyed this touch that the band put on things, added a new layer to, admittedly, a lot of criticism that the band got, saying, there's a lot of people saying that, oh, well, they're just taking content bootlegged and made by other people and making it their own. They're not doing anything original. This settles that doubt in a great way. You still get the very theatric elements in the song Welcome to Horrorwood, and behind all the theatrics, behind all the leanings into what you're going to get further along the album, you get that core Ice Nine Kills songs that core Ice Nine Kills sound that they have retained from their past few albums throughout the course of this album, and that they're always going to retain, whether their work is original or inspired. Speaking on that title track, the song itself is equally grounded and also just grand bloodbath levels. In this song, they actually, in a way, confront the fan base and their pleas for a second Silver Scream, pleas for a second iteration of the Silver Scream. And usually when you get that, a band directly confronting or acknowledging the fan base's desires, it can come off as negative or forced or pessimistic in a way, but that's not what the communicated feeling here is at all. Lead man Spencer Charnas is welcoming you into the affairs, arms wide open, albeit he's got a knife in one hand, but his arms are wide open. He's welcoming you with a very positive tone when you take away the elements of, all the gore and shit. The song's got callbacks. The song's telling you that this is the horror show you've been waiting for. This is everything you've been wanting and more. And something that you start to see in this song and in the very early goings of this album, and as well as all throughout it, is the last album, Silver Scream. There was a lot of, it was mainly for the most part, Spencer screaming along all the verses and then taking the chorus to go back to his anthemic vocals. But here on Welcome to Horrorwood, he's got more of a wider range of his vocal delivery and how he goes about every song, and I think that adds a lot more polish to this album. Continuing this and focusing on vocals, let's talk about Funeral Derangements. First and foremost, I'd like to make a case. I think this song is the strongest and best song on the album, hands down. It's my personal favorite, and I usually try to keep favoritism and criticism pushed aside. But I can say with my whole chest and say with confidence, Funeral Derangements has a solid case for being the best song on the album. The song immediately sinks its hooks into you with the kind of ferocity and brutality that you'd expect from a sequel to the arguably biggest album in the scene the past few years. I really didn't expect a song based on Pet Sematary to have some of the most consistent screaming sections, but that's what happens here. There's this animalistic feral ferocity, especially in the lead up to the second chorus, that Spencer he's not phoning in anything at all. He's never phoned it in, but a lot of people who criticize the band for just about everything they do seem to have this misconception that, oh, Spencer's just going lazily about his vocals. He's not doing a whole lot in that department. This song, he's going balls to the fucking wall, knives into skin. Ice Nine Kills ticks off all the boxes when it comes to metalcore masterclass piece right here. You got the stop and go choruses, horror movie audio samples, which are always welcome, especially in this setting, and the pre-breakdown momentum that keeps you not knowing what you're anticipating, but you're anticipating it all the same. Your heartbeat's going, and then your heartbeat stops, just as the stink face inducing breakdown hits. And this was a breakdown that took me completely fucking off guard. And honestly, big shout out to Ricky, I always fuck up his last name, Armelino. If you don't know, Ricky Armelino is one of the backup vocalists for the Ice Nine Kills, and he's actually the lead singer of his own band, Hawk, or formerly known as This for the Apocalypse. And he comes through and shines on this song here, especially with his little quick vocal additions like Sometimes Dead is Better. This man is a gift to metalcore, and the fact that he was able to get in some actual shining moments and some individual moments here on the album is wonderful. When it comes to the two guitarists, Ricky and also Dan Sugarman, there's a lot of standout moments you can pick out as far as guitar work goes for Ice Nine Kills. But I think here on this album, I'm going to focus on one of the busier songs, Take Your Pick. This is in strong contention, if not just purely ahead of the pack in terms of Ice Nine Kills' heaviest song, thanks in no part to the also additional inclusion of Corpse Grinder from goddamn Cannibal Corpse. Ice Nine Kills, I want to know who you know in Fearless Records that was able to get these features, because they've had phenomenal fucking features. Go back to the original Silver Scream, you had people from Real Big Fish, and you got Corpse Grinder? What? Even with that extra beast in the throne room here, Dan and Ricky are pulling you back by your throats and forcing you to take in their breathtaking guitar work here. Intricate is a word that gets thrown around a lot in the scene, but what you hear behind all the screaming and the vocals and the gutturals in between the verses and choruses is truly some stuff that begs to actually support the term. The genre of metalcore and even post-hardcore as an extension has a lot of guitar work that seems copy and pasted. You hear a song by insert the name of a new band, Heartbreak Kid and the Fuck Asses, and you're like, okay, this sounds very similar to this other band, whether it be positive or negative. But in terms of truly significant and individual guitar work here, Ricky Armelino and Dan Sugarman make a point to make their stuff sound vastly different from the rest of the boys. Even in the breakdown, it's not just straight up chugs or a never-ending, just stuttering beat. You get switch-ups, you get twitchy, little glitch-like moments here, and it adds to the fever of the song. Honestly, it's a little criminal how Ice Nine Kills seems to get away with anything and everything here on Welcome to Horrorwood. They're doing everything in their power to drag out inspiration from every moment and facets of their discography. If there's a part of Ice Nine Kills' discography that you feel hasn't been represented in a while, it's here on the album. In fact, let's step away from the scream-driven and pure, just ferocious tracks here for a sec. Let's talk about something a little more subdued. The lead single for the album, Hip to Be Scared. This song takes the band's usually heavy style, straps it down to a Bad Misery style, and just lets it kind of flow for a sec. You get the vibes going. It's a nice little record player jam. Things are drawn out, you're taking your time. It's a slow dance throughout the song as compared to the rest of the tracks. Essentially, this song also serves as a separation between the first half and the second half of the album as well. The story here is a little more thought out, albeit, of course, inspired by a horror film, this being American Psycho. And you can honestly argue that the story here told in the lyrics, it's a bit more on the nose, it's a bit more in your face. It works well. Not every song has to have lyrics that are, for the most part, original here in this case, and then have a little snippet, little audio snippet, a little lyrical reference. Sometimes you can fully dive into that universe and that experience here, and that's exactly what Ice Nine Kills chose to do here. In fact, in terms of tone, emotion, and just overall, I guess, heaviness level, I think this song serves well to be a bit of a slower, more drawn-out jam as opposed to something that's just in your face, punching you directly in the jaw 57 times. This song shows off that Spencer can scream, he can get a mosh pit going, but he can also produce a ballad-ready voice. And it's not just here on this song that he does this. There's also the song Fly featuring Buddy Nielsen. I talked about inspirations, diving fully into the experience of the original movie that the song is inspired off of, and Fly is pretty much the most easily understandable connection in terms of movie to song. All in all, the song is pretty much following the direct course of the actual movie. The protagonist is trying to create his own fate. He's trying to play God here. And in fact, there's a very well done line here. Probably one of the most impactful lines just in terms of how it's delivered, how it sounds amongst everything else. Just the line, "I'm not saying I'm not playing God," rings so powerfully. Of course, playing God in this case doesn't go so well because he's dealing with a teleportation device, and a fly gets caught up in it, and suddenly, bam! It's like the Toxic Avenger had a stroke on the way through the transformation, and he becomes the Fly. Get it? Because the movie's called The Fly. Bzzz. It's not the most thought-provoking. It's not like something like Take Your Pick or Hip to Be Scared that allows you to paint your own interpretation of the scene. Like I said, it's very on the nose, but that's fine. And like I said earlier, there are some more cult classic film choices here, such as this album right here, or this movie right here, excuse me. And I just want to make it clear, Ice Kills could do a third Silver Scream if they wanted to in terms of movies to pick from. Everybody who thought that they picked the horror movie scene dry with the last one, the last Silver Scream, dead wrong. Just as dead as the corpses. And among all these new, inspired, often forgotten horror movies, there is a classic here. There's something meant to be had. For the person who's a little more of a base level horror fan, want some Hellraiser? We got fucking Hellraiser. Welcome to The Box. This song actually features Ryan Kirby of Fit for a King and Brandon Saylor of Atreyu. I don't know what all happened on their Severed Leg tours or whatever they were doing in the fall, but I pray to fucking God, or maybe the devil in this case with this album, that the song gets the live performance treatment. Especially if either Atreyu or Fit for a King are on the tour with Ice Nine Kills, because Ice Nine Kills does so many collaborations these past few albums that you hear the collaborations and you think to yourself, oh, I hope they tour together, but there's just so many bands. But I truly think that Fit for a King and Atreyu, I think Fit for a King actually has toured with Ice Nine Kills before. That tour could happen. This moment could happen in its full intensity and potential. Back onto the actual subject matter here, the song is again inspired by Hellraiser and details the lead personality, Pinhead, as well as the paradoxes and difficulties that his race goes through. His race being the Xenobites? I don't know, I didn't Google it, I'm bad at this. Their difficulty to differentiate pain from pleasure, perhaps equally good acts from bad. A point that I haven't really talked about here is a lot of these songs, while you think to yourself, horror movies, they don't really open the door throughout the course of their movies for songs that can fit inside of a scene, inside of like a killing spree moment here or anything. A lot of these songs, just like the actual songs that get made for companion pieces for movies such as Ghost's song, The Hunter's Moon, they feel like end credit pieces. That's neither positive or negative, it's just a point I'm bringing up for the sake of it, because it just caught my attention that I didn't talk about that yet. Ice Nine Kills, and also, just as importantly, the producer of this album, Drew Folk, are masters of tiny little details sprinkled throughout the album. It's the little things that give the record just a little bit more of a shine, and that extra wipe through, make sure all the details are in place. That's what really counts in the end. Just little tiny moments like the children's laughter added into Assault and Batteries, as well as the little extra elements added into songs like Ex Mortis, just really bring out the true potential and the true power that a song can have. In fact, it can be down to the way that a song is produced. That really lends into if it's more of the gore fest ready companion piece, or just something that tends to lean more into the actual elements that the original movie has, such as Evil Dead next. Whereas Evil Dead is a horror movie that has a little bit more comedy in it, so instead of focusing on just like, blood curdling screams or death samples, Ice Nine Kills decided to add in little bits of like little audio clips of the oh so classic sounds. It's little things like that that make this a truly wonderful, inspired work. Feral to Flesh has some nice little moments too, with the bees buzzing in your ear, of course relating to Candyman and the sort of signs and omens that appear with him. Not one song on this album wasn't put together without the consideration of three specific things, in my opinion. Staying true to the band's core sound, fitting within the universe of the original movie's inspiration, and just sounding catchy as fuck. Top to bottom, this band proclaims that they are kings of metalcore with this release. There's an inspiring level of commitment to their act, commitment to, again, retaining their core sound while also bringing in the inspiration of other works. And really, I think Ice Nine Kills can create gold from any source. A lot of people over the years have criticized Ice Nine Kills for stepping away from original songs to inspired work, even so far as back as the announcement and the description of every trick in the book. But honestly, if Ice Nine Kills just did this sort of thing for the rest of their career, I'd be more than happy about it. While it's just a few stones throws away from the sheer perfection that was the original A Silver Scream, this album is a standout piece regardless, and comes extremely close in terms of perfection and quality. And for those reasons, Welcome to Horrorwood by Ice Nine Kills gets a 9 out of 10. And that's a review. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you think I missed something? Do you think I didn't talk about something enough? Do you think I talked about something incorrectly? Let's get a conversation going. Above all else, stay hydrated. Have a great day.